What would you do if you were told to follow your dreams and they could take you anywhere in the world?
This opportunity was presented to us in a time of major economic, social, and political crises. The market crashed, the country plummeted into a deep recession, and gridlock in Washington drove some Americans to the streets just to be heard. Yet American political discourse still seemed to be controlled by commercial interests and profit-driven politics, resulting in corruption, scandal, and stagnation.
We decided we wanted to find the voices of America ourselves and learn firsthand about the issues going on in our country right in time for the 2012 election. Traveling down the East Coast from New York to New Orleans, we were on a search for honest conversations with the strangers we met along the way.
Instead of relying on the candidates or the media to decide the American agenda, we wanted Americans to tell us what they wanted from the government come November. So we gathered some virtual followers and headed down south ready for some real conversations. And the people we met had some things to say.
My name is Betsy Barrows, and I am originally from Pawleys Island, South Carolina. And I live right here, right now in Washington, D.C. This is my front porch.
I'm working for Matthew's pickle company right now, and the question was, what do I think is the biggest problem in America? I think it's corruption of government is from all levels, lower all the way up.
And though we were on home soil, we had unique trials of our own. All right, Jill, why don't you tell us where we are?
Right now we're in Richmond, Virginia. We arrived on a Sunday, which was essentially the equivalent of arriving on a stranded island. So the creepy lack of people around the streets really put us on edge, and we already have to leave. So unfortunately, this was our first lesson learned in the South that these Southerners take their Sundays seriously.
Yeah.
And if we're going to want to talk to people, Sunday is not the day. Keep that in mind, presidential candidates. Sunday is not the day. It's not the day.
Yep.
But before we knew it, before we even sensed it, our trip turned into something else.
No, I hope everyone votes, and I'm not going to say which party or anything like that, not get political, but I think everybody should please try to have their voice heard.
To get informed and get involved and say what they believe. Don't get caught up in the organization or whatever you're in. Don't get caught up in your group.
When you take on the task of changing the world, it can get pretty intimidating. You wait for some sign or gratification from the universe to tell you you're working for something bigger, more noble than yourself. Oftentimes, it's much more subtle than that.
Our trip was about seeing old places in a new way, or calling new places home. It was about strangers turning into friends, and for two friends taking on new roads together. There were moments on the road when people thanked us.
I think it's really great what the girls are doing because it's very impressive that, you know, your age and in your stage of life that this is what you care about, is listening to what other people around the country are thinking and how they're processing what's going on, because that's what we need.
And it was in moments like that when all our answers were found. The conversation starts between you and I, between a friend or neighbor. When you take away all labels, you offer an honest conversation that everyone appreciates, whether they have a blue collar or commute that 9 to 5 in a suit and tie.
Republican or Democrat, red or blue, the problem is that barrier within us all that says what makes us different is more important than what makes us the same.
Sometimes the greatest journeys are the ones you take in your own backyard, and sometimes the most important conversations are the ones that start with two people, in person, online, or on the road, at a gas station off I-95 or a boutique off Magazine Street in New Orleans.
We are all super connected all the time, wired 24/7, but we forget about the greater connections that we share even when we're logged off. We are so different, but what keeps us strong is what we share. We are all bound by the same past and destined to the same future. The road connects us all, and if we see that, maybe we can begin to see all the beautiful things that connect us instead of those that keep us apart.